So, as a lot of couples have never hired a DJ for their wedding before, I wanted to take this opportunity and show you a little bit about our online music planner questionnaire form that we sent to couples. Before we get started, my name is Alex Perez, aka DJ Amp. I run a company called Amp Events and Lighting. We do DJing, MCing, of course, lighting, projections, and a lot of other fun stuff. So ultimately, we want to help create our client's vision, which this form actually is a very large component in. So let's get started. So this will be sent to our clients, our wedding couples, shortly after they sign up. Pretty much helps us get prepped for their wedding. One thing that I kind of live by, that my dad, who taught me to DJ, taught me about this, about DJing weddings, is proper planning prevents poor performance. There we go. It's also a tongue twister. So we start off with kind of the basics here, the basic event information. So just confirming when the date starts, where it is. These two things, the date and the location, will be auto-filled based on what we've been told. Prior to that, we're going to confirm the start and end time so that we know what time to arrive for setup, what time breakdown is, and when you have your grand exit. Here, and then your coordinator information. If you have one, more, most couples do, but some people only have like a day of, or they do not have a coordinator and they do that kind of in-house. So either way, we know who our main point of contact is, or who's kind of running the show on that front. And then we take everything through chronological order. So, most weddings start with the ceremony. I don't think I've ever had one where they party and then get married, but let's see. So we have our ceremony information. So this would we ask what you want to hear for prelude music. So you can kind of give anything that you want, even if you have a custom playlist that you had envisioned for guest seating music. You can kind of leave that in the additional notes section down here if you have like a Spotify or Apple Music link, and that actual sentiment holds true for other parts of the evening as well, but we'll get to that later. We have contemporary modern love songs, so that's modern, current hits. And then we have throwback love songs, and these would include the vocal tracks, of course. And then we have piano or string or guitar instrumentals. So think of Bridgerton, think of guitar, what are their names? Guitar tribute band, I think is their name, and things like that. So you can do classical music, so like Canon and D, and things like that. But usually that's for the main entrance during the ceremony. We can have country music, we can have Texas country if you are specific about that part, or contemporary Christian music. If there's anything that doesn't fit any of the criteria in the check boxes, again, that's what the additional notes section is for. So and then this is if the officiant needs a microphone. So it can vary depending on what you have going on for your ceremony. Some people have a guitarist and somebody singing either worship, or they have somebody that's singing. Like actually a couple weeks ago, I had someone who had their maid of honor sing the bridal entrance. So if somebody other than the officiant, who will get a lapel microphone, so like one of the little clip-on microphones, needs one. Say you have written vows and you're getting married outside, you don't have the advantage of like the walls reflecting the sound off and back into the audience ears. So if you're getting married outside, you may want to have one member of the wedding couple, typically the groom, have a lapel microphone as well. These are pretty discreet. And then once you exchange your vows, the DJ, me, will turn up that microphone. Otherwise, it's turned down. That way you can use the restroom, swear if you need to, whatever you need to do. And then once you're exchanging vows, he'll turn your microphone up, and then you guys can say your vows at each other, the person opposite of the person with the microphone, because they're speaking in their direction, will be picked up. Typically, if you talk fairly loud, your officiant can, because they're standing fairly close to you. But that's just an added layer of security in case you took the time to write, a 3-minute vow exchange to each other, and people don't miss the punchlines of your jokes on that. Let's see here. And then these are the processional songs. So if you have a different song for the wedding party versus your parents or grandparents and whatnot, you can list them here. This is the main processional for the bride, typically. And then if you want to be so granular, like say for Turning Page, Sleeping at Last, there is a particular part where he sings, even if it's the instrumental part. The part where the vocals typically start is typically where people want the doors to open up so they can have that kind of like magic moment. So, and then people are standing, staring, looking at the bride, waiting for her to come in. And so, you can start the processional at that part. We can kind of start so that we hit the mark, and then your coordinator, whoever's opening the doors for you, can hear it. We'll probably start that like 10 to 20 seconds prior to that part. And then that way it has a good lead in, and then, the doors can open in time because they'll hear the cue. The recessional exit song, that's just after you're pronounced. It'll be like, for the first time, let me introduce you so-and-so. And then if it's You Make My Dreams Come True by Hall & Oates. So we typically try to start at the chorus part unless, otherwise stated. But, we introduce for the first time so-and-so. Well, you make my dreams come true. And you can tell why I play music rather than sing it. And then after that, typically is like a cocktail hour where the wedding couple will be in the chapel or wherever they got married at, taking pictures with family and friends. And then the rest of the guests will be at cocktail hour. So we'll find out where the cocktail hour is at. And then for the cocktail hour, the music information is where we kind of get a lot of the music for the reception and everything like that. So if you have anything for dinner or cocktail hour, you can select those here. If there's something that's not listed, you're more than welcome to list it there as well. Let's see here. And so we try to be as all-encompassing as we possibly can. Let's see here. And then the next thing is typically the grand entrance. So we have a drop down of how you'd like to be, how the grand entrance is going to go down, basically. So are we introducing, each member individually of the wedding party? Are they coming in pairs? If so, how do you want them? What is their song? And then how do you want them listed as far as like, Kate and Colin, or so-and-so and so-and-so, how do you want them named, or the order that they're going to be introduced as? Otherwise, we can do one big group, or two big groups, really. But it's you can have the bridesmaids come in, then the groomsmen. We don't have to name them, but we can just introduce them as that, and they can either, all the fellas have a song, all the ladies have a song, or however you want to do it that way. If the wedding party has a different song than the couple. Or, sometimes the wedding party's already in there. They may even just hang out by the dance floor or the head table and wait for the couple. And then, we'll just introduce the couple only, and then what song you want. And then this, another question you may not have been asked is or have thought of before is what you want to be introduced as. So like who's taking whose last name, or Mr. and Mrs., first name, last name, however you want to be introduced as, that we can make that happen. And then this will get the special dances, so like the formal dances for the evening, as well as speeches and toasts. So that kind of lets us know how to, how to play that, basically. If there's going to be a welcome or blessing, just let us know who's going to be doing that. We can introduce them, go up to like the head table or dance floor, or wherever the center of attention would kind of be, introduce them, hand them off the mic. We'll go back and work the sound and make any adjustments if they need to. Some people like to, you're supposed to hold the microphone pretty close to your face. Some people, and you know, no one's a trained professional in this, so you know, there's no fault of that. But yeah, some people like to hold it by their bellies, in which case we have to turn it up a little bit more so that they're heard. But let's see here. And then if there's going to be a toasting portion of the evening, you can let us know who's going to be doing that. If the couple wants to say a thank you or like a welcome or anything like that, you can list that here as well. And then this section is for your formal dances. So your first dance, any dances with parents, if we're doing like an anniversary dance. One thing that I actually pretty much like that I've seen a few times is, so as to avoid too much of like the couple's time being taken up during dinner, like visiting each table in depth for like 10 minutes per table. And if there's like, you know, 19 tables that can kind of add up and eat up a big portion of their wedding. So they do like a photo dash. So that's whenever we have either the couple visit every table and then take a quick picture, or we have the couple in a location and each table comes up to them and takes a picture. And you try to do that, you make a game of it, and you try to do that within the duration of a single song. So you have like 4 minutes basically to kind of have everybody in the room run up to the couple and take a picture. Fun fact though, I mean, at least in my experience, it usually takes a little bit longer than that, but I can kind of stitch together an extended outro of the song if we need to run it a little longer. So I've done that a few times. And then your cake song, if you want the cake announced and then what song goes with it. Some people just kind of want to do it off to the side with their photographers. It's basically for the cameras anyway. They'll just go there with their parents or immediate family and kind of do that off to the side so that it doesn't kind of impose on anything else going on at the time. But, you know, if you want to, you know, want other people to come up and experience that with you, you know, you can have us announce that as well. If there's a bouquet and garter, the songs for those. And then the last guest song, so like the last hurrah, if you want your DJ to just kind of feel it out, or like whatever's going on at the moment, like, you know, whatever pocket you're in as far as like, you know, pop, EDM, hip hop, or, you know, just a sing along track, you can do that. Otherwise, you know, you can do your closing time by Semisonic or Mr. Brightside or what have you, just whatever, you know, you think your guests would resonate with, and who's going to be there towards the end of the evening, basically. If you guys will be doing a private last dance after the guests have left, before the grand exit, you know, you can tell us if you're doing a private last dance, and then what song you would like that to be to. And then for your grand exit, you can let us know if it's going to be sparklers, glow sticks, bubbles, streamers, poppers, whatever have you, so that we can let guests know as they're exiting, like, hey, be sure to grab a sparkler on your way out. Once our newlyweds are done with their private dance, we're going to send them off with a bang. And then, you know, that gives people something to do, and you know, we can kind of herd them out as you guys set up for your private last dance. And then the rest is kind of the fun part. What type of music you want for cocktail hour and dinner. Like I mentioned earlier, so, you know, you can choose different types of vibes. If you want to go from, you know, classic love songs or crooners like Frank Sinatra, and at the end of the night you want to rage out to Glorilla, you know, what have you. It's basically to make it your night. Whatever you guys are into, we're there to make it happen. And so you're not even limited to one style of music. If you want all these, you're more than welcome to select them or whatever. And we can definitely do that. And then if there is anything that's not listed there, or say, like I mentioned earlier, if you have a specific cocktail hour dinner playlist that you've put together, you can paste in the Spotify or Apple Music link, and then we can kind of use that as our gauge or playlist as far as that goes. And then this would be for the open dance part of the evening. So, you know, what you think your guests and what you, of course, want to party to, the genres of music. And then this kind of gives us with a along with your song picks, a good idea of what you're into. And without having to necessarily, like, you don't have to put every song that you like or have ever listened to that you can jam out to, typed out. If there's anything that's not in the not above, then you can let us know. Or, for the Latin music field, there's, I'm Puerto Rican myself, so I know that there's a lot of different types of Latin music. So, if there's anything like specific, like you want merengue, bachata, cumbia, tejano, whatever you're into, we can make sure that we get that specifically on the list. And then let's see here. The next one is just 20 songs and artists that you're into, or that, some people, I know that they will send out like a song request list out to their guests with their invitation, so that, they get to hear something that they'd like to hear, so that you can do that as well. List them in here. We just want to make sure that you guys jam out too, because naturally, once the dance floor opens up, especially, the majority of the guests are going to gravitate to whatever the couple's doing. So if, ladies and gentlemen, the dance floor is officially open, let's go, and then the couple goes out to take pictures, most people are probably going to follow them. There will be some people that will stay in and party, but, your dance floor won't be full probably until you're back in there. And then, so yeah, you can give us songs and artists that you like, and whenever that's coupled with the, no pun intended, whenever that's coupled with the song select or genre selections, that gives us a better idea of what you're into. And then, like, oh, if you like this song or artist, you probably like this thing, or, that gets the wheels turning as far as transitions too, as like, oh man, this will be fire if I can, go from Neon Moon to Yeah by Usher, which is something that I like to do. And then let's see here. And then this is also just as important for knowing your tastes, your do not playlist. So if there's anything that you absolutely hate or do not want to hear, just let us know. We'll make sure not to get that on. And even if, say the next question is if you're okay with guest requests, obviously day of couples requests are honored by default. So if you send your coordinator over, or if you yourself, say, hey, let's get into whatever, for their alma maters, typically like Aggies love the Aggie War Hymn. Sometimes it's the last song of the night, or sometimes they just want to make sure that, they get to do their war song. So, if the couple comes over and is like, hey, we want Aggie War Hymn now, cool. We'll force that in there, or get that on for you. And then, but yeah, even if that's selected, yes, if it's on the do not playlist, as far as like guest requests go, we won't play anything on the do not playlist. So if there's, a lot of times I've had grooms come up and be like, hey, can you play Nickelback or whatever? And they know that the groom hates Nickelback. They're just trying to troll him. And so, like, if I know ahead of time that you absolutely do not want to hear Nickelback, I can, I'll have I'll have it in writing, basically, like, hey, he said no Nickelback, so, please don't play it. So don't come and play that game. And then the last thing would be, if you have your timeline ready, you can go ahead and upload it here. Otherwise, we reach out to the coordinator and kind of grab that too. Another thing that is very useful for your special dances, it's listed in the notes here. But yeah, if you have for your dances, if there's a specific version of it that you want, just let us know so that we can get that version. Sometimes there's, like, I think Unforgettable by Nat King Cole. He has Natalie Cole on there, but I think that there's a version with just Nat King Cole. So, it just depends on what you want for your night. Or if you have to check with mom or dad for your parent dances, just let us know, and then we can get those specific versions on. And then another thing for the timestamps to fade out at, I know for, if you're dancing with mom or dad or what have you, 4 minutes can be a short eternity up there with them on the dance floor. So if you want us to cut it short, or you can kind of note, like, hey, for all of our formal songs, just like keep it a verse and a chorus, and then, we'll fade out and go on to the next thing on the calendar. If you have like any custom track that you made, I know that a lot of people are doing, I've had several times where the parents for their first or their dance with their child. Sometimes they do the little AI songs that they've made that has like a personalization aspect to it, and that like it's like, oh, you know, your blonde hair and blue eyes when you came out. So like, you know, if you have a version like that, you can send that to me as well, and we'll be sure to like confirm that it works with our software, or you know, there's nothing awry or miss with it ahead of time. And then, or if there's like a custom mix that you want us to do, just please let us know ahead of time. Like one time I had the father of the bride text me the morning of the wedding asking to do a custom mix, which like I'm okay with doing, but I would ideally like to have the time to like, hey, is this what you want? And like set up my equipment and record it. And like, because articulating a transition is different from actually hearing it or performing it, or, you know, the BPMs of the two songs may not align or jive in certain ways. So it gives me time to troubleshoot it. But the compromise was the song that he wanted to transition into. I just played during the open dance portion, and so he danced with his daughter to that part. So you know, we can always work something out, of course. But like I mentioned earlier, proper planning prevents poor performance. So you know, if I know ahead of time, I can definitely work that in a lot easier. So. But yeah, this is kind of what I like to use as far as planning, and then this will also be coupled with the final phone call with your DJ, where we'll go over the finished questionnaire. Happy to answer any questions that you might have, or fill in any blanks or anything like that. And then yeah, and then we'll go over the timeline as well, so that we'll have like a final sort of document where we know like the order of events and who's saying what, and have everything that's relevant to us. You know, because the timeline is typically for all the vendors, and you know, there may be something that's like, oh, sunset photos that may not, we're not going to announce that as the DJs. Typically, you just sneak off and do that. You know, probably during dinner or something like that. So, but yeah, that's kind of my philosophy, and you know, how we go through the online questionnaire. You know, and this also, like, it's not due until like a week or two before your wedding. So if you have like 70% of it complete, and then you want to come back to the rest later, your responses are always saved, so long as you don't submit it. So you can come back and, you know, finish off. Or if you're waiting to hear like, hey dad, what did you want to dance with me to, and then you have the rest of the song filled out, or the rest of the form filled out, you can, you know, wait for his answer and then, you know, come back and fill it out later. So there's no pressure to do it all at once. We try to make the planning process as easy as possible. I know a wedding, you know, outside of the DJ is like 1.5 million decisions. So that's kind of our philosophy behind what we do. Let me know if you think that there's anything that I should add, should take away. You know, if you enjoyed the philosophy, feel free to comment. But yeah, that's going to be my time this evening. Thank y'all, and you have a good day or evening.